Our next story is from somebody who had a little bit of controversy surrounding him this week. But what's really
Oh
funny is
no.
this article was not mentioned at all because of all of the crap that was surrounding the Chelsea banner. But Glenn Greenwald put
Uh-oh.
out a scather.
So Ben Rhodes, this is Glenn Greenwald,
Okay,
right?
yeah, getting back to this. Sorry about that.
Uh
Ben Rhodes' own
you're
book
good.
proves Obama's officials' lies and his own about Edward Snowden and Russia. Surprise, surprise! But it is
Yep.
hard to overstate the sociopathy of the U.S. national security officials. Their casual willingness to blatantly lie about the gravest matters is limitless. This is just, Glenn is so good. All right. So he nails that ever since Edward Snowden received asylum from Russia in 2013, Obama officials have repeatedly maligned his motives and patriotism by citing his choice to take up residence in Russia, right? Right. It's long been clear
Mm-hmm.
that this narrative is a lie. Snowden, after meeting with journalists in Hong Kong, intended to only transit through Moscow and Havana on his way to seek asylum in Latin America. He was purposely prevented from leaving Russia, trapped in the Moscow airport by the very Obama officials, who then cynically weaponized his presence there to imply that he was a civil liberties hypocrite for choosing to live in such a repressive country, or even worse, a Kremlin agent or Russian spy. Right?
Do the shitlibs think we live in a Tom Clancy novel, like from the 80s? You know? Is that it?
I wouldn't even
You
call
know?
this the shitlib. This is literally the neoliberal establishment. Like this is not
Yeah.
even the shitlibs that
It's
we deal
further than
with, that
that.
we
They've
fight
they've
all the
they've
time.
jumped off the cliff.
This is the
Yeah.
Yas Queen Hillary stands. I mean the
Oh, fun.
the TFGs, the too far gone. All right, but we now
The
have
too far
absolute
gone.
definitive proof that Snowden never intended to stay. I love Tom Clancy too, but
Yeah.
his novels read out of a 1980s thing, and Tom Clancy sadly has been gone for quite a while. I've read all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Without Remorse is one of the best book novels that's ever been written. And same thing
Clear
with
and Present Danger, also very good.
I loved Clear and Present Danger. And then
They
what's
talked
the
about the
one?
Sandinistas in there and all that stuff.
Yep. But the one with
Yeah.
where after, what's it called? Executive Orders, I believe is what it's called. And essentially it's a two-part series, and it's the one where Jack Ryan first becomes the president, and he wakes up after, and I don't want to ruin
Is
what the
he
end of the first
played
book
by
is.
is he played by Harrison Ford
It should be totally
in this book?
forever. Get off my plane.
Yeah.
Like nobody else should
Get off
ever
my
be allowed to
plane.
play Jack Ryan ever.
Chewie. Get off my
Right?
plane.
So again, we have definitive proof that Snowden never intended to stay in Russia, but was deliberately prevented from leaving by the same Obama officials who exploited the predicament which they created. The proof was supplied unintentionally in the memoir of one of Obama's senior national security advisors, Ben Rhodes, entitled "The World," "The World as It Is," a memoir of the Obama White House. Right? It's hard to overstate how this positively Rhodes' own book proves that Obama officials generally, and Rhodes specifically, lied blatantly and cavalierly to the public about what happened. A level of sustained and conscious lying that can be explained only by sociopathy. Okay, that's a little bit, maybe a little over the top, maybe not. So let's see what Mr. Greenwald has to say about this. The memoir of Rhodes, now appropriately an MSNBC contributor, of course, is an incredibly self-serving
No.
homage to himself that repeatedly attempts to demonstrate his own importance and accomplishments. The passage about Rhodes' conduct regarding Snowden is very much aligned with those goals, while repeatedly emphasizing how traumatic the Snowden revelations were for the Obama administrations. Rhodes boasts about the crucial role that he played in preventing Snowden from leaving Russia, as the NSA whistleblower was desperately attempting to do so. Exactly the opposite of what people like Rhodes and Hillary Clinton were telling the public about Snowden. It is really beyond words how willing these people are to lie. One chapter of Rhodes' book is devoted to the Obama administration's efforts to normalize relations with Cuba. This guy is just, he's in exile. It's pathetic. Get this guy home. He's a hero. He is a hero. A whistleblower is
years ago.
Crazy. Rhodes explains that the deep distrust between the countries had endured for decades began to subside due to two events which he helped engineer. Okay, again, this is Cuba. So basically what they did was they strong-armed Cuba into saying, you better not let him pass through, or we're not going to potentially lift the embargo. It would be an even more important signal sent by Cuba showing its genuine desire to improve relations. So they strong-armed him. Okay, in other words, Rhodes, who spent years insinuating that Snowden is a Russian spy and traitor given his choice to flee to Russia, knew in real time that Snowden never planned to stay even one day in Russia. He had only flown to Moscow from Hong Kong with the intent to immediately fly from Moscow to Havana and then on to Ecuador or Bolivia to obtain asylum. Prior to landing in Moscow, Snowden and his representatives had secured a commitment from the Cuban government to allow him safe passage through Havana and on his way to South America. The only reason Snowden is in Russia is because of the actions of Rhodes and his fellow Obama officials to deliberately trap him there. First by invalidating his passport so that he couldn't board any international flights, and then by threatening the Cuban government that any chance for normalization with the U.S. would be permanently destroyed unless they withdrew their guarantee of Snowden of safe passage through Havana, which they then did. Here's his own words boasting about what he regards as his success. I'm not going to read it, but he actually links to a SoundCloud where Rhodes from the book himself, from the book as well, which I don't want to listen to. But could this admission be any clearer? From the very beginning, Obama officials knew, including Rhodes, knew that Snowden hadn't traveled to Russia with the intention of staying there, but instead was, in his own words, stuck in the Moscow airport and trying to find someone who would take him in. Leave aside Rhodes' other lie that Snowden intended to go to Venezuela. The NSA whistleblower's plan was to travel from Moscow through Havana again to Bolivia or Ecuador, but Rhodes, knowing how Americans view Caracas, purposely replaced Venezuela as the intended destination to further impugn Snowden's motives. Rhodes then tells us how proud he is for having successfully bullied Cuba out of allowing Snowden to fly through Havana as he intended, thus, in Rhodes' own words, causing Snowden to get stuck in the transit zone of a Moscow airport. Fucking gross. Sorry. True journalism is becoming a myth. Yep, it is up to people like us. You bet. Absolutely. Is that word? Is that who that is? And yet countless Obama officials, including most amazingly Rhodes himself, have spent years lying to the public by claiming exactly the opposite. Over and over, they impugned his patriotism and strongly implied he was a Russian spy and a traitor, as evidenced by his choice to go to Russia. But one example, listen to the player embedded below.
Terrible.
All right.
The choice of that.
Right. Tommy Vitor. Here's another one. Tommy Vitor on Pod Save America, where Rhodes is also now a co-host. All right. For a full hour, he impugned Snowden's patriotism and motives, repeatedly citing his choice to flee to Russia as his primary proof, along with the fact that Snowden went to meet with journalists in China.
So his proof is just that he was in Russia. Jesus Christ. That's just proof. See, he went, therefore he is.
No. Not just that he went, but he chose to go there. No, he didn't choose to go there. That's the only place that he could fly through there to go to Cuba, to go to...
Right. Right.
Come on, guys. Right.
I mean,
'Cause again-
JetBlue routed him over there.
Because again, like, a whistleblower doesn't conspicuously pass from China to Russia, you know? Reporters are saying, are you telling me that you know that he was working for the Russians? Or what have you? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm telling you what I see, which is this guy went to China and Russia, the two most adversarial intelligence competitors to the United States. He could have gone to some very liberal European country that probably would have taken him in. No. Or he could have faced the music here. The choice of those destinations speaks. But face the music here. What? And become Julian Assange and become John Kiriakou, or become, what's his name, John McAfee, stuck in a Spanish prison?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Does lying
Yeah.
get more flagrant or deliberate than this? Rhodes notes for certain that what he's saying here about Snowden is an absolute lie. He knows that Snowden didn't choose Russia as his destination. He knows Snowden did exactly
You ever
what
seen
Rhodes
the
said he should have
McAfee?
done. Right?
You ever seen the McAfee video of the ladies talking about what he asked them to do? You ever seen that?
No.
It's pretty good.
Is
There
it?
was a hammock. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's not. He's just weird. He's got a kink, you know. That's it,
And
you
again,
know. But still,
it's unreal. Here's another one.
Funny,
In 2014, Hillary Clinton Guardian interview. Right, condemned
Yeah.
him by falsely claiming that he flew
That's-
from Hong Kong to Russia with the intention of seeking asylum from Putin. Listen to her flagrantly lie here. And I don't want to listen to that.
And we all know that Hillary couldn't lie and is a completely credible source. You know?
I can't. So, from the perspective of the 24-hour
Ew,
news
babe.
cycle, this may not be the timeliest revelation.
this guy's talking shit about you again.
Right? No, I'm not
It's
playing
fucking
that.
funny.
But it's only within the last several days that I read Rhodes' book and could barely believe how he laid out, how clearly he laid out his own lies and those of his Obama administration colleagues. This level of conscious lying, spending years implying that Snowden was a traitor or Russian spy because he fled to Russia when you know that he wanted to leave and did everything possible to do so, but it was your actions that trapped him there against his wishes, required an unlimited willingness to lie that the moment one's interests are served by doing so. We do not usually have a case where the evidence of lying is this conclusive, where it is offered by the liars in the first place. But this behavior is far from uncommon. This is what the national security state of the U.S. breeds. And it's vital to always remember that when listening to these people speak. It's not just Barack and co, but definitely them. Yeah. Our request to Rhodes for comment in an attempt to reconcile his public claims with this passage in his book was not answered by the time of publication. It will be added if one is supplied. And that has 800 replies on Glenn's Substack. Highly recommend subscribing to Glenn's Substack, even if for free. I'm a free member right now. You can pay for $500 a month, become a founding member for $150 a year, or for $50 a year, you can become an annual subscribing member to his Substack. Excellent publication as well.